Broadcasting from Boston, Massachusetts, the ARC Digital Transformation Viewpoints podcast is the only podcast dedicated to all things related to digital transformation in energy, industrial, and critical infrastructure applications. The podcast is the creation of the ARC Advisory Group Digital Transformation Practice. ARC advises leading companies on technology trends and market dynamics that affect their business. To engage further, please like and share our podcasts or reach out directly on Twitter at ARC_advisory, or please go to the website at www.arcweb.com.
Hello, everyone. My name is Craig Resnick from the ARC Advisory Group. With me today, I have two special guests. I have Rik De Smet, who's the Digital Transformation Consulting Senior Partner of the Asia Pacific region at Schneider Electric, and Christian Horn, who's the Digital Solutions Engineering Director of the Asia Pacific region at Schneider Electric as well. Welcome, Rik and Christian. Great to have you both.
Yeah, nice to be here, Craig.
Same, Greg.
Okay.
Thanks for the invitation.
Yeah, great. Yeah, really thanks so much for being here. I'd like to start with Rik. If you could please introduce yourself and talk about your role with Schneider Electric, please. Then we'll go to Christian after that.
Yeah, Greg. So as you mentioned, I'm one of the partners for the Digital Transformation Consulting team, which is based in APAC. And to summarize it, it's rather easy. What our goal is to work together with customers to create that business value, and that's through that digital transformation. And our services really is providing this consultancy services, is really looking towards the customer, not thinking about all our solutions and products, looking to our customer, what are their business challenges, where do they want to be in the next 3 to 5 years, and work together, co-innovate, work together with our customers to achieve their business goals.
Okay, sounds great. Christian, could you also tell us what you do at Schneider Electric?
Sure. So like Rick, I sit in the APAC region. I manage our digital solutions engineering teams from across APAC. And my role, along with my team, is to help our customers create the value from their aspirations and their outcomes. So we do that by working very closely with our consultants and our customers to co-create, sometimes co-innovate on solutions. And then we work hard to implement those solutions through our APAC delivery organization.
Well, thanks a lot, Christian. Rik, you had mentioned about a digital transformation consultancy. That may have different meanings to different people. So what exactly, from your perspective, is a digital transformation consultancy?
Yeah, so if people think about consultancy, it's a big word. So if we think about this digital transformation, it's about people. And if we think about people, it's really starting to think about a different mindset. If we think about 20 years ago, we would try to automate processes, systems by, putting PLCs in place, DCS systems in place, put some sensors in place to automate that. But now with this digital transformation and make it even more digital, is the question which we are asking ourselves and our customers is, what is that next step? Is that really, and that means that we have to start thinking about a different mindset. So I'm using very often Einstein to think about that, is that if we have certain problems or certain solutions in a certain mindset, the only way to solve that problem is to change our mindset. And that's really by working together with people, with organizations. And as an example, what we would do is really asking what would be an exceptional experience of an operator, or what would be an exceptional experience of a maintenance person? What would that look like? Could we provide them with some, maybe an assistant, a smart assistant, so that when they make changes in the environment, it's always the best change, but they are assisted by maybe some smart agents. The same moving from this physical world and this digital world. In our digital, the industrial companies, we have been automating, and we think we have already done that leap to that digital. But once we start working closely with customers, they start to see that, yes, we are in a certain maturity of our journey, but we still have a big way to go. And therefore, it's really helping them to see that, yes, we have this physical world. Let's continue to do the optimization. Let's do it better. But on the other side, there's also that transformation. what would it look like if we can get smarter with the data and it provides us knowledge, not just some information, but really provides us knowledge so we can make better decisions or even the best decisions. What would it look like? So that is really our consultancy, is looking to all aspects of the people, change of management. Where is that business value that we can provide, looking at? And we don't even talk about products. That will come later into it. So that's the first step we try to do in our engagement with customers.
So in reality, regardless of where they are on their journey, even if they're just starting, so you're in a position where you can really, kind of help them start their digital transformation journey. Is that correct? So no matter what point they are on the evolution, shall we say?
That's correct. And so one of the first thing we try to establish with our customers is not starting off, let's say, what do you want, or how do you want it, or when do you want it? That's more that physical thinking. We really want to start from the why. Why do you want to do it? And really go deep into that why, so that really can unearth that opportunity. And for example, a why could be that their customers, our customers start to ask maybe different ways of providing the services or the goods. So they have to start thinking totally different. So it's starting with the why is a very important one. And if we then, let's say, look into the engagement, there are a couple of main elements out of that. And of course, first is looking to an assessment. Where are you today? Because each company has a certain maturity. And depending on the maturity, of course, they can go faster, or they have to go slower, or they have to put the foundations first in place. So it's really important to understand their own assessment. And what we see is when you do it as an outside company, so you get, let's say, the outside-inside view, it really provides them with insights they don't see anymore, because sometimes you start to have it becomes invisible for them. And once we understand that, is the questions is how can we help our customers then to create that value roadmap? And the value roadmap is really linking not only technology, but really thinking about this value. Where do we going to get some value? What are the business levers? So that we really can create that roadmap. And it's really then the use cases, but with ROI. So that's an important element of that. And then another element we try to do also is that change management. Again, it's about people. So how can we help not let's say stay where we are in status quo, but also can we create like an innovation culture? Or who are the transformation champions? How can we do that? And really helping our customers then also to create that, let's say, a compelling story of change, a compelling story of transformation. Because what we see is that once, and it's like a network effect, once we have, let's say, a team who starts to be these champions, what if we can create 2 teams, 3 teams, 4 teams, 8 teams of change managers or transformation champions? And that's really powerful. Then it starts to drive themselves. And last but not least is also creating awareness. And once we have this awareness, it really provides us, and maybe we have to make some websites or some success stories. And this really provides us with the value identification. So we understand now where the value is, how we're going to do the change, how we're going to create awareness. But there's still another element, of course, that we have to do is that once we have identified the change management, is how we're going to realize that.
Yeah, I know that's so critical. And then now I want to shift over to Christian, because as Rik talked a lot about, value. What are you doing specifically to help your customers kind of realize the value of a digital transformation strategy that the consultancy helped them to, identify and craft?
Yeah, so look, that's where my team comes in, right? So, and it's all about getting the right engineers and the team together to continue that story and journey along from the consultants with our customers. So it's not about just having, those perfect technologists. It's having those engineers that have a similar mindset of asking, why are we doing this? What are we trying to achieve? Where does this solution need to go to in the next 3 to 5 years? And make sure we keep that in our mind. As engineers, I think from time to time, we're all subjected to cognitive bias where, we land on a technology that we've used before. It was very similar on a previous customer problem, but then you're kind of trying to fit the problem into the technology, and that's definitely not what we want to do. So we work very closely with the consultants and the customer to fully understand the outcomes that we're trying to achieve, right? And what is that exceptional experience? And then once we do that, then we can start to look at what is that technology that we need to design to help reach those desired outcomes. So working very closely with the customers, identifying technology inside and outside of Schneider. It's not just about leveraging the best parts of Schneider. It's what is the best solution and technology to solve these problems that the customers are having and create that experience. And part of my role is to help flatten the organization within Schneider, so that team that works with the customer has access to our full portfolio, all of the teams within Schneider, the R&D teams, the innovation labs that we have. So making sure that we can then leverage the best parts of Schneider then to bring together that team that's going to solve this problem in the best possible way. Then we move into the engineering phase, where we look at the technology, test what technology do we need to test, do we need to run some proof of concepts or proof of values, and start to build up that execution plan to resolve these issues. So then once we have that execution plan pretty much now down, we can then start to connect with that large delivery organization to deliver these solutions and move into that execution phase. Now, obviously, along the way, the team continues to have input and stay connected to the execution, because we may need to move back into some of the planning parts and the engineering piece. So we keep it iterative, right? A little bit agile as we move forward. It's not just a linear execution plan we look at here. We make sure that there's those constant litmus tests along the way to make sure that we are reaching that outcome that we're striving to achieve.
Yeah, you've both identified certainly a tremendous amount of value. The thing a lot of your customers will want to know is how do they actually scale that? And then Rik, can you talk a little bit about, like, during the consulting phase, how do you actually, scale all the value that you're actually providing as part of your consultancy services?
It's maybe one of the most difficult parts because identification, okay, we can do that. Then we do the execution. Yes, we can do that, but how do you then scale that? How you do this maybe in 100 factories? And what we have seen is working well. Is going from project mindset one by one to a program mindset, really thinking about what that program, and I will give you a couple of examples how to think about that. So if we think about first the project mindset, is that companies ourselves, they're looking for initiatives, but all of these initiatives are most of the time independent of each other. And maybe supply chain has some initiative, operation has some initiatives, engineering have some, and each have, of course, their KPIs and aspirations. But then the question is, after we do this a couple of years, or let's say look back to the last 10 years, is the needle has not really moved. Yes, we have been continuing optimization, but did we do really a transformation? So it's really going from that process thinking to that system thinking. That's what we have to do. So the question we then try to work together with the customer is how we can create now a journey through a program. It's a journey. It's not just a project. It's a journey. So it could be multiple years. So what if we can now create a program where our strength is automation. We have cyber, we have sustainability, we have transformation, electrification, and so on and so on. That's our strength. How can you put this in a program so that we can bring our knowledge to the customer and work together and create a multi-year program to really move that needle in an accelerated form? And so that we really can drive this change to a future. And what we then see is that this approach is working really well, but it's not enough. We need also the support of management and really clearly identified. And for example, what we have seen in our own factories and working really well is, as a team, we selected that here are the foundational solutions. Each plant, and we have about 200 factories, each of these factories must have the minimum maybe this 7 solutions of services. Because this is the foundation. If we have that in place, then we can grow, we can change, we can transform. And then there may be elective, where depending from site to site, they can select maybe depending on their business challenge or maturity that they can select. So it's really thinking about not project by project, but what is that journey we can help our customers with? Because we identify the value, we have the people to do it, but we have not only the people, we have the knowledge, the broad knowledge of that. So to summarize, if you want to scale, both must have a team in place. It's not just a person. It's a team in place with crystal clear objectives, but it has to be supported by management. And we have to have the KPIs in place. Think about this project to program. And at the end, it's still about people. It's not about technology, because the change is driven by people and used by people. So we have to involve them and really make them part of the journey. And this allows you really to scale and go to the next level to do that.
Yeah, I know that's so critical to get to have people involved and have buy-in. In many cases, what you need is really to provide those people a lot of times with the measurable, quantified business value, because they have to justify the investment. They want to see what's the ROI, for example. So how does your consultancy help your customers to quantify digital transformation business value?
Yeah, it's a question which is on everybody's lips. How do we measure this? How do we do that? And what we can see is that, let's say you want to integrate everything, maybe introduce new ways of working. What is that business value? And what we see, and we use that quote sometimes, is the question is, how can we make that what is invisible visible? So we need some things. And so that's one of the questions. But what we see is that let's say if it's a project by project, yes, maybe we can measure it easily as an improvement in productivity, maybe of 2%. But maybe we should rephrase the question also and ask, and maybe a better question is not just the ROI, but the question is, what does your customer wants in the next 3 to 5 years? Maybe they want to have much more personalized goods or services. Maybe they want that you deliver much faster. Maybe smaller quantities. Maybe more variability, maybe a different business model. So I think on the one side is we have in the process, yes, we can optimize our process, but also think from your customer side. What are the challenges that the customer will provide, that will give to you? And that can be a big return on investment. And it's not only the optimization of your processes and the plant, but look to your customer, where that business value is. And how you're going to provide that exceptional experience to your customer. And it's a very important one, because otherwise, if you're not going to do it, somebody else will do it. So there's that big business value. One side is the optimization of your plant, but also think about what that future is of your customer. What do they want? And what is that new way of working with your customer going to be, and how you're going to create that resiliency, agility in your processes.
I'm certainly glad you talked about the new ways of working. Here's a question I actually would like to ask Christian. Because we certainly, looking at our clients, we see a lot of failed attempts by our customers to try to transform or bring in those new ways of working. And can you really help explain how you the traps that you see and how you can kind of comprehend what those traps are and what you've learned, and how have you kind of helped your customers kind of overcome some of those traps when it comes to new ways of working?
Sure, right. So it's we're always trying to think about what is that excellent customer experience for our customers, and how do we overcome those challenges, right? And we like to have a fail fast mentality when we start to look at different types of technologies. And we definitely don't want to get stuck in some kind of purgatory of POC, right? We have to have a clear understanding of where we're going, and not be afraid to change technology along the way, right? So it's all about, understanding where we want to go to, where we need to get to, having a connection philosophy for all of the solutions that we bring together, and making sure that this can scale into something that is going to be useful and has some longevity. And as Rik was mentioning, it's not just about the technology, right? It's also about the people. It's all about supporting the change in that organization to leverage that solution that we put in place. So it's bringing the people, technology, and process together in its entirety to make sure we achieve that success. But I would say really some of the traps that we've come across are around executing proof of concept, for example, where we don't have both parties that have skin in the game. So it's a lot of our customers come to us and say, can we have a free POC, right? Prove to us that this is going to work. But then it becomes very one-sided on one party, right? And if this proof of concept goes over a certain period of time, the customer we're working with may lose interest because they don't have any skin in the game. So it's important that you get that buy-in, right? A little bit of money on the table, get them connected and engaged to make sure that we can reach those milestones, to make sure we conclude those proof of concepts to a point where we can make a decision on what is the next steps to move forwards. So I would say it's about a little bit of speed, failing fast, not being afraid to pivot into new areas or new solutions or new paths as you start to evolve that solution.
Yeah, and that's key. I mean, we find that if we can engage people at all levels, if it's a top-down program, it never works because there's no sense of ownership at all levels. And if we can kind of work with people so they feel a sense of pride and ownership in the project, we find that makes an amazing difference as far as for the success. Mm-hmm. And as we begin to kind of wrap up our podcast today, what I'd like to ask each of you is if you could provide, our audience with a couple of really specific takeaways that they can use when they want to go back, to their plants and factories, and they want to kind of consider, what is their next step in digital transformation and how can they leverage a digital transformation consultancy such as yours. So I'll start with Rik and then go to Christian.
So I would start from really, as an organization, think about your customer and what would be an exceptional experience for your customer and what can you bring to the table to achieve that. We did an exercise, an engagement with the customer, and we started from their customer and tried to see what it would look like. And for example, their customer didn't want to talk anymore with them. What does it mean is they expect that everything is go through, let's say, the internet or an app. They can see exactly where the goods are. They are fine with that. But that means then that the commercial people, the engineers, the operation behind, supply chain behind, has to understand that's what we have to do. So even from engineering point of view, whatever you're going to do from a project, why is this related to your customer? Or supply chain, if you make changes, why is this related to your customer? So once we made that clear, what is that persona? What is that? And even more is that the future of what that persona wants. It becomes really easier to say what are the investments we have to do to achieve that exceptional customer experience, instead of just looking internally what we can do to improve. It's really easier than to put somewhere let's say a persona in front of you to help you what that digital transformation can be for your customer. And you could also have internal customers. It's the same principle. If you think you can help your internal customers in your company better, let's do that. And that's sometimes an easy way to look of will it provide business value or not, is what will it help others to achieve their goals in a better way.
No, those are excellent points. Hopefully, Christian, Rik didn't steal some of the points you wanted to say. It's always hard to be second to this. But what other points would you like to establish? Right, exactly.
I think from what I've learned going through this journey is that it's clear that you need to engage with your workforce constantly as you go through this transformation. Communication is key, and that change management of people is definitely key. It's okay to put the technology in place, but are they really going to achieve the value out of it if if you don't bring along everyone on this journey to make sure it's a success. And I would say, work very agile. It's not a problem to go back and restart certain phases, I would say, and make sure you clearly define what success looks like when you reach the end of each of those phases, and then really look at pivoting that solution to where you need it to go. Continue to get the feedback from the people that are going to be the subscribers of the solutions to make sure they're engaged and they do meet the success criteria. They are creating that solution that's gonna transform their business and change the way they work. Like Rik said, it's not all about the technology. It's everything combined to create the transformation.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad you found some different and excellent points as well, Christian. I mean, my final point is always that culture beats technology continuously. And you can have all the best technology and the best services, but if you can't work with the people and kind of let the culture kind of help pull the project through and accelerate the digital transformation journey, it's really not, your chances of success are not going to be good. But I'm very confident, based on Rik and Christian, what you've pointed out today, that your customers are really extremely will benefit from your outstanding services and that you're providing and really helping to accelerate those digital transformation journeys. So Rik and Christian, thank you so much for being here. It was a great talk and outstanding points. And this is Craig Resnick with the ARC Advisory Group. I want to thank you very much for listening and wishing everybody a great day. Thank you.